I didn't leave the church in a day. I need to say that first. People like to imagine a dramatic exit, some final argument, some slam of a door, but it wasn't anything like that. It was slower, quieter. It happened in places no one could see. Inside thoughts I didn't say out loud. And if I'm honest, I don't think I even realized I was leaving until I was already gone. I was raised in the church, which means I wasn't just raised in a religion. My life was shaped by it. Sundays were never up for question. Activities during the week, seminary early in the mornings before school, holidays centered around lessons and testimonies. I never thought about whether I believed. Belief was the air I breathed. It was automatic. I remember sitting in sacrament meetings as a kid, swinging my legs under the bench because they didn't reach the floor yet, tracing the wood grain with my fingers, the sound of hymn books turning, the smell of perfume mixed with the faint scent of old books in the library rooms. Those memories still feel warm, safe. They were real. That part is important. The safety was real. For most of my life, I didn't question anything. Not because I was afraid to, because I didn't have a reason to. The people around me believed. My family believed. My teachers believed. And belief gave everything a shape. When life made sense, I trusted that was enough. But questions don't usually arrive when life makes sense. They show up when something shifts. For me, it wasn't history. It wasn't doctrine. It wasn't anything dramatic. It was something small. I was about 22. I had just come back from my mission. I was sitting on the floor of my apartment, folding laundry, just laundry, and the thought came into my head, completely uninvited. What if I don't know why I believe this? It wasn't what if it's wrong. It was just why. Such a small question. So small, I almost ignored it. But the question didn't go away. It waited. And every time I bore my testimony or taught a lesson or talked about faith, I felt the question sitting silently behind the words, waiting for me to answer it. I tried to pray it away. I did. I prayed harder than I ever had before. I fasted. I read more. I doubled my effort. That's what we're taught to do when doubts come. Strengthen your faith. Don't feed the question. But the harder I tried to force certainty, the more the question echoed. After a while, I started looking things up. I didn't go searching for anti-anything. I just searched the things I didn't understand. Sometimes I found answers that helped. Sometimes I found answers that didn't feel like answers at all. And sometimes I found things that made the floor beneath me tilt just slightly. Still, I didn't leave. I stayed. I kept going to church. I kept serving. I kept trying. Because leaving wasn't even something I could imagine. My family was there. My friends were there. My identity was there. My future was built on that foundation. I used to think that when people left, they just didn't try hard enough. But now I know the truth. The people who wrestle the most are the ones who cared the most. You don't fight to keep something that never mattered to you. I didn't talk to anyone about what I was feeling. Not at first. How do you tell the people you love that the ground under your feet is shifting? How do you explain a feeling you don't even understand yet? There was one moment that changed things for me. It wasn't loud. It was in the foyer of the church building after sacrament meeting. I had just listened to a talk on obedience, on how obedience brings blessings, certainty, safety, and I remember thinking, but what if obedience takes me somewhere I don't belong? What if the blessing is the ability to choose for myself? It was the first moment I realized I didn't want obedience. I wanted autonomy, not rebellion. not rejection. Just the ability to trust my own thoughts. But that realization didn't feel freeing. It felt terrifying, because I had no idea who I was without the church telling me. The next part is the one people don't talk about. Not the leaving, the grieving. The grief arise before the exit. Grief for certainty. Grief for belonging. Grief for the version of yourself who believed without effort. When I finally did leave Wynn, I stopped attending, stopped participating, stepped outside the system. It was quiet. No dramatic announcement, no argument. I just didn't go back. And here is the part no one tells you. Leaving is lonely. Even if you weren't close to everyone at church. Even if you felt disconnected before. Even if you believed it was the right choice. There is a silence that comes after you step away. A silence where the world used to feel structured. Sundays are empty in a way that's hard to describe. Conversations with family shift into careful pauses. The people who knew you best don't quite know where to place you anymore. They still love you, but they don't understand you. And being loved but not understood is one of the most painful forms of loneliness. For a while, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I believed. I didn't know how to make meaning. The ground was soft where it used to be solid, but slowly something changed. Not all at once, in small ways. The first time I chose something because I believed it, not because I was told. The first time I let myself sit with uncertainty instead of trying to fix it. The first time I realized I wasn't afraid of being wrong anymore. There is a different kind of peace that comes from building your own beliefs instead of inheriting them. A quiet peace. A peace that doesn't have guarantees, but has authenticity. I still love many of the people in the church. I still value the memories. I still carry parts of my upbringing with me. I am not angry. I am not bitter, but I am different now. I learned that faith built on fear isn't faith. Faith built on certainty isn't faith either. Faith is choosing meaning, choosing compassion, choosing honesty even when there are no guarantees. And if you are in that space right now where something small has shifted and you're trying to pretend, it hasn't. I want you to know this. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are not alone. You are becoming. And becoming is painful, but it is also sacred. Thank you for listening.